Hi everyone, can just someone confirm that I'm clearly visible and audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So, hi everyone, I'm Gungun and today we have an amazing speaker with us. He's Vichitr Gandas. Hi sir.
Hey Gungun, hey guys, good evening everyone.
So currently he is working at Spotnana. He is also ex-co-founder at CodeDrills. He has experience from Visa, ICPC and IOI. Would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Sure. Hey folks, I am an ITK CSC graduate. I completed my graduation in 2020, and right after the college, I joined Visa, the card company. I was there for a few months, probably like 8 months, as a backend engineer. Got bored and then joined Spotnana. It's a startup in the travel industry domain.
Yeah.
And I've been working at Spotnana for almost 4 years now. But on the side, I have done a lot of contributions in computer programming. I have been a regular contributor to ICPC, IOI, or similar kind of contests. So yeah, my own journey started as as a participant in ICPC, and then I contributed as a judge, then became admin, and later I also joined the CodeDrills team, built some cool features. We hosted our first ICPC contest, and then also like continuously we hosted ICPC for a few years on CodeDrills. So that's the, yeah.
So we'll start off from your college days. Like, how did you get actually started into competitive programming, and what sort of things happened that you just find out yourself that you seriously want to pursue competitive coding?
Sure. So I think just like many students, probably like more than 50% of them, I also started as a person, who had no prior knowledge of programming languages. So I come from Rajasthan board, and usually you don't really have computer science as a subject in Rajasthan. So yeah, so that was the like college. First semester was the first time I had came through something called a programming language. It was interesting to learn, but yeah, the concepts, we started with C language actually. So at the very start, I couldn't understand anything. So
Yeah.
for a few months, it was like that. But then once you start, putting some attention to it and start learning very basic things, it becomes much more interesting. So
Yeah.
so that was the starting point. So C language was the something, then like a few chapters which led into logic building, right? But then right after that, I actually started with HackerRank. So I had few problems on HackerRank, but I could never, solve them. So that was pretty disappointing, It was more like, okay, how do I even solve them? So
Yeah.
then I came to know about other platforms like CodeChef or Code4Sage. So one random day, I was looking at Code4Sage, and there was a contest going on. So I read the first problem. It was a very simple, logical problem. Then, but somehow I was able to solve it, and it felt really good to solve a problem in a contest. So that's when I started giving contests, and then regularly I actually participated on CodeChef and Code4Sage after that. Yeah, that's kind of the start of my journey with the programming or sports programming.
Yeah. So that was just about the DSA. Could you also elaborate how did your development part look like? Were you very strong, or were you not that much confident into that?
So I personally didn't really like development in the university days. I never understood the thing. Why would you waste a lot of time building these UI components? It was very boring for me. So my major focus was always about problem solving, because that's what excited me most. Because you every day see different problems and then try to think about the solutions. It just that because maths was my favorite subject, and then obviously it became problem solving became much more interesting. But on the other side, I did try few things, and I built my own portfolio website, a few things, but it was not something which excited me a lot in the university days. But if I talk about now, I think once you start doing work which actually makes great like products which are solving real life problems, right? Then it becomes more interesting. So once you get the professional journey, then doing development makes a much more sense than like when you do in college days. Because in college, probably we are just copying some random projects, looking at people and okay, that person made that website. Why should I not try, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
then do that kind of stuff, which is boring for people like me or maybe many others. But yeah, that's
Yeah. So there will be, I guess there would be three sorts of people. The one who does pure comparative coding, the one who does pure development, and the ones who just balances out both of them. They're not that much into comparative coding and that much into web development, but they somehow know both of the things.
right.
So we'll talk about your CodeDrills journey now. Like this was all about your college days and all. So now let's talk about your CodeDrills journey. Like how did that opportunity came, and how, or did you seek that opportunity? Like the entire flow that you can explain.
Yeah. Okay. Before I answer that question, Ravi, I think we will take the Q&A towards the end. So you guys can post your questions in the chat, but we will talk about those questions towards the end. Okay. Now coming back to your question, right? Okay. Before I tell about code drills, I think I would start with my my journey with ICPC, right? So I think it was the second year of the college when we tried the ICPC for the first time. So we built a team, and it's very good exercise to find a team, find like-minded people which can balance your team, and then participate in a contest like ICPC, right? So we tried in the second year, but we were hardly able to solve only one problem. So it was very bad experience. But then the next year we again tried it, and that time we solved few problems, but again we couldn't make it regionals.
Okay.
That time when we tried, that time it went really well for us, and like we were able to make it to the regionals. We probably went to Amritapuri regional, but yeah, going to the on-site, it's a different experience. You meet a lot of different people, learn. So that's a good journey. So then, because this process, I met the judges as well there. So those people were probably like just like us who participated a few years back, and then they came back to the community, started contributing to the community. So I like the idea of once you graduate and then you also start contributing back to it. So I like that idea, and that's where I started contributing. Actually, even when I went in college, like around third year or fourth year, we built a club, coding club, and then we started organizing contests just for juniors. So that's when like I started making problems, and then I also started contributing to CodeChef. I submitted few problems at different platforms, Hacker, CodeChef. So my journey as a problem setter started in college itself, but because once you get into that domain, you also get introduced to very great people. So I came to know about CodeChef judges or other judges, right? So once you are active contributor, then you definitely get to know other people as well. So then I came to know about ICPC judges, and then like we talked about it. Okay, how can I also contribute? So that's where I joined the CodeDrills team. Earlier, like we planned that we will host ICPC on CodeDrills around the COVID time.
Yeah.
The main idea was to build CodeDrills. Now coming to CodeDrills, right? So we had tried very different platforms. Like we had tried CodeChef, HackerRank, HackerEarth, even CodeForSage. So we had almost tried every other platform to host Indian ICPC contests. But one or the other way, it used to fail. Like either the load was too much, so server would break, so people would not have really great experience, or the problems were not good quality. So these kind of issues used to happen. So the very first idea which came to the judges and the the RCDs, the regional contest directors, which actually host these ICPC rounds. Right? But they were more like, okay, why not build our own platform? Like the judges has the most context of the contest, what kind of load would be there. So why not build our own platform? So that's where I think the idea of CodeDrills started. So we started building that platform, and then we did a lot of trial contests, like I think around 10 or 15 around that COVID year. And that gave us a very good confidence that, okay, like we can really host it. And I think that was the most participation ever in history of Indian ICPC. We had like 5,000 teams and more than 15,000 users. And yeah, like, so that was the first time also, like I was a judge of ICPC round. So I was admin of the online round as well as the on-site round. So uh, it's a good experience actually, but it's the only bad thing about it is that the contests are like pretty much very packed schedule. So like one day after there would be another round, right? So we had to rush to different on-sites. So Kanpur to Bangalore to Gwalior. That's it. Work. So, and you spend a lot of a lot of evenings or even nights with waking up, looking at the problems and ensuring that they are of the right quality. We test them properly. We prepare them to the right standard. So it's a good experience contributing as a judge, and then yeah, that feels good. So that's how I came into CodeDrills. But then the founders of CodeDrills, Balaji and Deepa, they later proposed me to join them as a co-founder to also help contribute on the development of the platform. So I was leading the technology team there, engineering and technology team. So we also built few other solutions like assessment platforms like HackerRank. You might have seen, right? When Amazon or Google, these kind of companies, they take a assessment test before interviews. So we also built a similar platform, and I think we have also few clients which use in IITs like to to screen the candidates. So there is a separate platform on CodeDrills. So yeah, that's kind of the journey. And then I stayed judge for a few years until the very last year. I think last year again ICPC went back to hosting on their own. They went back from the third party to like their own hosting. So that's the journey with ICPC and CodeDrills.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go on to the industry experience, like the Spotnana one. So you grew from a junior role to a leading to a leading person, right? So what were the some key lessons, like what according to you have made you as a leader at Spotnana?
Sure. So, okay. Yeah, I joined Spotnana when I had something like 6 months of experience. So, as a SD1. So, it was a very small team at Spotnana at that time, around 30 people in the company, right? So, at that kind of age of a startup, you basically get a lot of flexibility to do what you want to do. So, you get to design the projects, right? So, as soon as a requirement comes, so it's handed over to you and you own the whole space, right? So now you are required to think of a solution. You are required to make the right designs. You are required to code it. You are required to QA it, even support during the release process. Right? So I think that's the very best thing you could have as an engineer, to be flexible enough that you can build your own thing. And then also like having a support system that there are more senior people who can review your designs, who can review your code, and that helps you learn, right? So and that's the starting point. And I think from the very start I started taking initiatives more like okay, just one example. For example, so we used to use a pattern in Spotnana, and which was not very thread safe. So I identified that, and I proposed like company wide, why not get rid of this kind of pattern, right? Because it might cost in future. So that was very first initiative I took at Spotnana. And then similar kind of more initiatives like building health reporters of services, then like building more products which can make development journey more easy, or like make the life of developers easy, or like make the products which can be extensible enough. For example, Spotnana, when it started as a travel company, but later we pitched into being a platform. So I was also one of the engineers who worked on this idea where we made it more like AWS of travel domain. So like we started offering each of the service as a standalone service, so other companies can use it as a platform. So yeah, these are kind of things. It's more about, I guess, taking initiatives. You be your own, guide kind of thing. So as soon as you start taking those initiatives, then people would start identifying you. So I guess that's the major thing. Like you be the initiative taker, and that helps you.
Okay, so you emphasized on two things. The first one is taking the initiative, and the second one is the peer learning, right?
Yeah, I think I can put some details on peer learning. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you start learning in a startup or any company, actually. So like, where do you learn most, right? It's peers. So you get different kind of people who, like, maybe you know something better about, for example, C++, but someone in your team might know something better about databases. Someone might know about networking or OS. So the peers are the best, source of knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I also believe that once you feel like, okay, one of your peer is not good enough, then you be very open to discuss it with your peers and tell them upfront that, okay, this is what I guess you lack and this is what you should learn about. So like, be very open. Like, just don't take it personally. In corporate world, it's more about when people are giving a feedback to you, it's never about like being personal. It's always about you to improve upon things. So yeah, I guess that these are the few things which helps.
Yeah. So we see you at the leadership roles, like, but initially you might have struggled, right? So was that a leadership thing a challenging for you? Like, and how did you tackle it out? And what was your approach to it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess being a manager or like leaders, right? They are always challenging. I always feel that I want to stay as an individual contributor, IC role, right? So, but at the end of the day, I guess, let's say you are performing as a 10x engineer. So let's say you are doing 10x better than your teammates. But then how do you propagate this effect, right? You also want that all of your teammates become as good as yourself. So I guess to promote that kind of culture, you would have to step up and then let others know, okay, how you are achieving the efficiency you are achieving. So now you have to be open, like make other people learn your techniques and share your thoughts and like share your approach to these things. And I guess that's but the more challenging part, I guess, I have found is like being a leader is that you have to talk with people. And I guess that 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 has like two types of talks. One is like it's very easy talk, but then sometimes you have to do a very hard talk. Like, what does that mean is like, maybe someone is not doing good, then you have to tell them, right? So someone might get offensive about it, someone might feel negative about you, but then you have to be open and take it on you. Okay, that person might feel it, you have to say it. So yeah, and that's the, I guess, the most difficult part about being senior in the team.
Okay. So let's move on to the last part, like the interviewing and the problem solving approach. So as an interviewer, what do you look into the candidates that helps you analyze their problem solving skills?
Sure. So I guess, in my all of the interviews which I have taken at Spotnana and even CodeDrills, like, so the major part I focus upon is that is the candidate able to understand the problem, right? So usually problem is not very straightforward. We give a very jumbled kind of statement, and it's usually a real world kind of scenario. But we want the other person to understand that they are able to map it to an engineering problem, right? First of all, they are able to map it to the engineering problem. That's the first part. Then how, like, are they asking the right questions about the problem? Are they exploring the right space? For example, if I say you, okay, solve this problem, so you might want to solve it for like 100 different use cases, but maybe like I asked you to solve only for one particular use case. So are you clear about that problem space? First of all, are you sure about, okay, what we have to solve exactly, right? So like, I want the candidate to ask enough questions so that they are very clear about the problem statement. they are clear about the constraints of the problem. They are clear about the like where we want to arrive at the end of the interview, right? So majorly these are the things. But then I also expect the candidate to, once they tell me the idea, they are able to convert idea into the code. So these are the very major parts which I focus upon. One, they are able to convert the statement into some engineering problem. Second, once they have told the solution, they are able to convert it into code, right? So these are the major two things I focus upon. It's fine even if you don't know syntax, you make some mistakes, it's totally fine. But you are able to fix them, you are able to take the hints, you are able to improve upon your solution. So these are the things.
Okay. So many candidates would just struggle with the optimization. What advice would you like to give? Like, how do you approach on optimizing the solutions?
So, okay, so let me share my experience. So, for example, like at Spotnana, we have and even at CodeDrills, like I told you. So, when a candidate submits a solution to a problem, it gets executed on 100 different test files, right? So, one single submission is more like thousands of users on Amazon or these kind of platforms. So now, if you take about like 15,000 users, these are like millions of users together. So now, how do we handle that kind of scale, right? So very basic thing is like just analyze the problem, right? Where exactly we are facing the problem. So start with very basic. So is API taking too much time? Okay, API is taking too much time. Okay, now how do we improve that API? Now we look at what exactly API is doing, right? It's making some database calls, for example. So can we cut some of them? If let's say it's making 5 calls, can we just get done with one database call, or anything which is fewer than 5? So that's the first thing, like identify the areas which we can improve, right? So that's one. But then for example, okay, can we also optimize our algorithm, right? And then figure out, can we optimize whatever steps we are taking? If we are making any third party calls, can we eliminate that? So these kind of things, like be very simple about it, and go systematically from starting from entry point, and then figure out, okay, what can we do? So now if we apply the same concept to a problem, so in general, problem would be given as a very raw statement. So now you look at the problem, figure out a algorithm. So first of all, like figure out a very basic solution, even if it's a brute force. Now we start thinking, okay, now can we optimize it, right? So
Yeah.
then we look at again the constraints, like what kind of solution we want to arrive at. So then you start taking them, and then I guess another approach is that, can we break the given problem into smaller problems? And if we can solve these different problems, for example, say you are given an array problem, and where the numbers can be either positive or negative.
Yeah.
So if we can break this problem into 2 subproblems, for example, if we are able to solve it for positive numbers separately and negative numbers separately, maybe like they had a like separate solutions. It's not always possible, but maybe they have. Then I can merge these 2 solutions to form my overall solution. So like try to break down the problem into subproblems, solve them independently, and then try to merge it. And once you have arrived at a solution, then we can think about improving it. But yeah, we always start with a very basic version of it, like come up with a raw brute force solution, like then try to optimize it.
Okay. So last question, like, how can they be, the problem solvers, strong problem solvers like you? What sort of habits you have, or what sort of strategies you implement in your daily life to do what you do?
Okay, so I guess it's about constant learning, probably. I mean, you keep trying, so like keep solving different problems. I guess most of the people are from college, right? So I would suggest like you regularly solve problems. That's the only thing which will help you. I mean, there is no shortcuts. There is
Yeah,
uh,
there are no shortcuts.
yeah. I mean, even if you follow someone's agenda, it won't help you. The
Yeah.
only thing which helps is the constant practice. So start practicing things, then it starts becoming easier, right? So for example, in college, I would tell you an incident, like I never wanted to learn different algorithms. So for example, like we used to have different clubs, and we wanted to get into different clubs. So naturally, as a college student, you also want to get into some good club. But then they used to have some interviews before that. So
Yeah.
But then they used to ask these DSA problems, and people used to say, okay, they ask graph or they ask DP problems. And but I was like, okay, I don't really want to learn DFS or DP. Just give me the problem. I would think something. I would come up with a solution. I don't want to learn about DP or something like that. And but then later, like one day I realized, look, okay, the solutions which I have been writing for past few months, they are exactly what DP is. So I mean, you arrive at a solution, you don't really know what that technique is called. Maybe like you naturally
Yeah.
get a solution, but then I figured out, okay, if I had like read about this concept few days back, maybe I would have developed that same algorithm much quicker, right? I would have developed the solution much quicker. So it definitely helps. Like maybe at some point you feel like, okay, I don't want to do it, but like giving it a read would help in the long term. So try as much you can, different things, different algorithms, but like keep things simple. You don't need to learn very hard data structures. Like probably you don't need to learn, for example, Dijkstra or maybe red blood trees,
Right.
or trivial trees. So these kind of things you don't need to learn. These are like complex data structures. If you know very basic DFS and BFS, you can. I am pretty confident you can solve like 99% of the graph problems. In my whole experience of as an interviewer, I have like asked very like numerous kind of graph problems, and all of them could be solved with very, very simple DFS and BFS. But people have like, I have seen solutions which have involved very different complex like algorithms or data structures which were never needed. So
Yeah.
I say that all of the interview problems would usually be solved with very simplest form of the algorithms like DFS, BFS, or greedy, DP, these kind of algorithms, right? All of them can be solved with these very basic algorithms. You don't need to like learn about 100 different algorithms. Yeah, like be very strong with the basic data structures, basic algorithms that would help you like arrive at solutions.
Okay. So we'll open the forum for question and answers. If you guys have any questions, you can put them in the chat box, and Vichitra sir can go on to answering them.
First of all, let's answer the first question, I guess. So
Yeah.
Ravi asked, he's a BCA second year student, and many companies don't hire BCA graduates. Even for DSA rounds, so should I go for dev? So Ravi, I think it's more about like what do companies focus upon. So in the market, there are like few types of companies. So if you look at startups, so even the startups are very different startups. So for example, like Spotnana is also a startup, but we never ask anything about development. We have a very, very simple interview process. We only ask coding problems, and also like we are very much specific about what algorithms we are asking. We only ask the algorithms which we use in our code base. So you will never see something which we don't use. For example, we never ask DP because we don't
it's
use
not
DP.
used.
So so it really depends on these companies, but I would generally say like there are two types of companies when it comes to hiring. So either companies focus upon development or companies focus upon your logical or problem solving skills. So, but 90% of the companies usually focus upon the problem solving part. So if you are very good at problem solving, then I think nothing can stop you. Even if the companies are not coming into your campus, there are like lakhs of different options on the market. You need to start looking at LinkedIn, all of these platforms, right, and start applying to them, and then maybe like it's not easy, definitely. I mean, if you would apply to 100 companies, maybe like you would get response back from 4 or 5 companies. But one thing which could help you is that try to reach out to people from these companies before applying. People are ready to give referrals, and referrals definitely help when it comes to getting the interviews.
Yeah. So the next question from Ajinkya, we have, what sets the great engineers apart from the rest?
Okay, so from my personal experience, I think it's your attitude. So, for example, I would tell you, like, I have seen few engineers, I have worked with few engineers who never care about anything other than the task they are doing. So let's say I give you a particular task, okay, develop this particular feature. Okay, so you just start thinking on it, develop it, and that's all. But they never think outside that. So what's the implication of developing this feature? What's going to happen in, let's say, 5 years down the line? So how would the feature look like? And if we want to extend this feature to support something more, like, can we do it? Right? And does it really make sense to even have this feature? First of all, it's all about your thinking, that you start questioning, like, whatever you are doing, does it make even, like, does it even make sense, right? Whenever product managers come to me, like, with a feature, then very first question I always ask is that, why do we need this feature? And is it the best thing which we could provide to our customers, right? So that starts the thinking process. Then, okay, can we, like, build something better? And then once we are, like, confident, okay, this is the feature the customers want, or this is the thing we want to develop, then we get into the zone where, like, okay, what should be the backend architecture, right? How should we develop this feature? So, like, how should we make our, for example, like, how should be the structure of databases, how should be the structure of the code, and all of these things. Like, once you like decide in on a particular structure, then also, like, question outside it. Okay, if tomorrow I also want to support some other type of the operations on the same thing, can I do it? Right? And let's say today there are only 100 users which are using it, but tomorrow if million users come, can the same API would be, like, able to support the same operations, right? So these are these kind of the things which you start questioning, and then I guess you start thinking about building the right projects, right products, right architecture. And I guess this is the exactly same thing which sets apart the best engineers from the average engineers, right? Average engineers are usually doing what they are asked to do. The best engineers, they are thinking outside the box. They are questioning what they are asked to do, right? And they are thinking much more than they are required to do. So yeah, that's initiative taking, thinking outside the box, and maybe, like, helping other people. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question we have, that I solve 3 questions daily. That is from Pranav Patil. But after a week, when I just revisit the previous questions, I sometimes forget the logic. And he's asking, is he making a mistake or not?
Okay. So that's fine, I guess. So one thing I would say is that when you start solving problems regularly, you start building your thinking process, right? You don't need to remember the logic. It's fine, you forget about it, but then you should be able to re-arrive back at the solution, right? In the same way you did for the first time. So like, that comes with practice. So it's totally fine if you don't remember the solution, you are struggling with the solution. Just keep trying it. I think you would excel in few days.
Okay. So the next question we have from Ankit. Like, I sometimes get a startup idea that feels exciting, but then I worry that what if I spend months on it and it doesn't work out, or how can I test its worth and before going all into it?
So okay, I guess, like, whenever you are going into a startup zone, or where you want to get into, like, ideas kind of things, right? So never have a hope that it would succeed. So you might be already aware that 99% companies fail. And
Yeah.
why is that? Because ideas are never perfect. So
Yeah.
don't think about whether it would succeed. All it takes is that at least you tried, right? So
Yeah, at least you tried.
best thought you should have is that you would try it, and you would learn that, okay, it doesn't work. And that is the best learning you are having. So next time you would know, okay, this is not gonna work, I would think differently. But the other thing which you would learn while you are developing this, and, like, trying to work on the solution, is that you would learn upon uh, product thinking. You would learn upon how to communicate effectively, how to maybe, like, uh, how to talk with customers, or, like, maybe try to understand their problems, right? And then what kind of things which are in the market, which kind may work or may not work. So you would definitely learn a lot of these things. And the best learning when you are working upon startup, or, like, working with startups, is you build a very great network. And I would say there is nothing better than a network. I personally, all of the things which I have been able to do, it's always via networks. Because, for example, when I was working at Visa, someone from my network reached out to me, okay, Vichitr, are you, like, interested in working with Spotnana? I even didn't even know that person much, but he was a LinkedIn connection. So I had a very first brief chat with that person, and that idea sounded very exciting to me, and then I was okay, let's get into it. And that's where I started building my network. And once you start getting into this network of very great people, like strong thinkers, then it would automatically, your network would become much and much stronger. So from my own experience, for example, after that journey, like from Spotnana itself, I guess there have been my colleagues which have left Spotnana, and they are building now their own startups, and who has like reached out to me, okay, Vichitr, like, would you be excited to work with me? And I mean, that's when like I have worked with them and they liked my style. But then I also got to like build that network, and now I have those people which I can probably join them, or I have options, multiple options in the industry, right? So, and other than even these people, there are few colleagues which left my company and then they joined some other company, and now there's like founders, they reached out to me, okay, someone from your colleague like told me about you, you work like your style is good, can we have a chat about it? So that's what networks do. It would give you a like 100 other opportunities other than like what you were trying to do.
Okay. So the next we have Nitin. He's raised his hand. Can we unmute him so that he can question?
Yeah, sure.
Nitin, you can unmute yourself.
Nitin, are you able to unmute?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. I had a personal question.
Mhm.
So, so I have a little confusion about participating in hackathons.
Mhm.
So, like, I genuinely want to participate in hackathons, build something cool, but there are some things that I need to do to continue college, like create some content or work as a social media manager. So I constantly hang between them. Like, what should I really do?
Okay, I think it's a very general questions which multiple people would have probably. So I would say that, even as a in the college, I tried multiple streams. For example, I tried problem solving, that is like competitive programming. I also tried ML, AI kind of things, like built some chatbots. I also tried in the development domain, but then like I did few internships as a uh, physics and maths tutor, even the coding tutor. So a lot of things I tried. But then I guess you realize after trying these things, okay, which is the one which is like most exciting, right? And which is the one which you want to do. So either you take decision based on that, or you take decision based on like what can present me the best options in the industry, right? So if that's the thing, like you want to have more flexible career, then I guess it's software engineering is the best path one can take, right? Because not just about the working, like if you don't like one particular company, there are like lakhs of other companies which you can join. If you don't like one particular domain, for example, I am in travel domain, I can join maybe medical domain, I can join retail domain. Like every sector would have software companies, right? So you can even switch the domains, and then like everything you are doing, that would be a different thing. You would need to learn about different products, you would need to learn about how that industry works, so you would have different learnings. So if I talk about the flexibility, I guess this is the best segment, and not just about like being flexible about these domains work. I guess even in the same domain, then you can also switch cities, like maybe you don't like Bangalore, go to Hyderabad or go to Gurgaon, right? Even if you don't like these, maybe there are remote options. So that's the one way of thinking, like what kind of flexibility in life you want. That's one. Two, like what thing you like as a person, like what you want to do. So that's the second, like, so that is based on the interest. So yeah, I would say like try to explore these different things when you are college, and then try to make your understanding, okay, which one you like more, or like what is the path you want to take. But I would suggest that in general, like software engineering is much more flexible field, and I guess it gives you much more options, and I guess it's very highly paid. So that's also a one more thing. So
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So moving on with the last question, how do you effectively plan a project?
So, okay, yeah, I mean, I think there are differences when you plan something professionally versus I think what you are doing in college. It doesn't really matter in college, right? You can build things and then forget about it. And even if let's say it's a course project,
Yeah.
what are you losing? Like maybe a few marks. That doesn't matter much, but yeah, I mean, it definitely matters to show your interest that you were into academics. That means you were serious about learning whatever you are doing, right? So that does show you one attitude. So we have like had that kind of problem in we were hiring one particular person, and we saw that that person had grades less than something around 6. So we were confused whether we should hire that person or not. So we tried to find out why that person got 6 in the first place. If that person was really interested in computer science, he took that branch, then how can it happen that that person didn't even study that much? Like studying one night can easily give you 7 pointers. That's my personal opinion though. But yeah, like what was the thing which this person couldn't even study one night? So that raises some questions on that particular point, right? But then we got to know, like we had a word with that candidate, and we got to know, okay, that person didn't really like theory subjects, but that person was very active into competitive programming and had very great profiles on different platforms, very good performance in ICPC. So that convinced us to hire that person. But then on the other side, if that person had 7, we didn't even have that kind of question in our mind that okay, that person was like okay, serious enough that he didn't do too bad in the academics, right? But then yeah, I mean, that's about your pointers. So we should definitely plan things better. But then coming to how do we plan a project effectively? So when we are doing a project in corporate life as a engineer, right? So then I guess we start from very basic that what are the kind of features we want to develop first of all. So define the requirements. That's the very first thing we do. So we try to uh, we try to basically limit the kind of scope as much as we can. So maybe that person gave us a very vague requirement, which could have resulted into like developing maybe 5 features. But we will try to clarify as much as we can, and like maybe we finalize with two features only. So that's the very first thing. Like you first define what are your requirements, right? Then we also start with what are our assumptions. Okay, like what are we assuming that okay, this project would be successful only if these things are already existing. Otherwise, like your scope would increase, right? So these are the few things we do at the very start: assumptions, requirement clarifications. And once you have the clear requirements, then we probably like divide into multiple phases. Okay, because we want to track the progress. So it's not like okay, you would say okay, I want to develop a website, full-fledged course management website, and I would be done in 1 month. Maybe like after 1 month you won't be even like having half of it. So first of all, you need to uh, define your different phases. That okay, in the phase 1 I will only build just one page. On the second phase I will build like maybe add course or delete course buttons, and like add that functionality. And maybe in the third course I would show a like view courses page and like develop that functionality. So divide into multiple phases, which are much more much more effective to plan, right? So that's the next thing we do. And once we have these phased planned, then we kind of also define what is the output of each phase, and what are the timelines of each phase. And after the end of it, we also keep some kind of buffers, right? Okay, like maybe like we plan to get like go live in maybe 1 month. So we would also put some buffers on, maybe we should test the system, and there might be different strategies to release it. So these kind of things we also need to consider. So yeah, I mean, it might differ based on your requirements, but these are the kind of things which we take into account.
Okay. So the next we have, hey Vichitra sir, do you have any connection in Supabase?
I don't know what is that. Is it a company? No, man, I don't think I have. So I
Okay.
guess my connections are limited. But yeah, I mean, I do have a lot of connection in different companies, but not everything. I mean, there are like lakhs of companies, so very hard to have that.
So we have Nitin Verma. That yes sir, the thing is that I've tried few things but wanted to continue with the hackathon right now, but for the livelihood we want to do something for the content creation and other jobs which I don't like much. That's I stuck between participating practice building projects or problem solving few months. The next month I work to cover the next sem tuition. This is going for loop for last 2 years.
So, Nitin, first of all, I think very good that you are trying to make some money and pay your fees yourself, which is a very great learning in the college days.
Yeah.
Even I had tried these kind of things, did some tutoring kind of thing, get some bucks, which is obviously good. Feels good to pay your own fees, but I would say then you have to align with what you are doing, right, and what you want to do. So later from tutoring, I shifted to problem solving, and I won a lot of contests. I made a lot of money even in problem solving. So then I started making problems and like made a lot of money in uh, uh, like these problem setting, being a judge. So that also you can make money, right? So the first thing I did was align my goals, right? So I had to learn problem solving. So I also started making money into that segment, right? Because that's what I wanted to pursue. So yes, if you want to pursue development, then on the sideline first like learn basic things, and then maybe like start taking few projects or these kind of things which are on the line of development and which can also help you make money. There are a lot of, I guess, such websites like Top Coder is one where you can get a gig, right? Gig working is there, or like maybe you can explore other websites which provide these kind of things. So part-time jobs are there. But yeah, you have to align. You have to move away from content creation to development kind of gig works or like part-time works, which can also pay some money, right? So yeah, I guess that would be the best action you could take.
Okay. So any more questions?
Yes, when I am on Twitter, but I am not much active on social media. But yeah, I am on Twitter. You might search Vichitr Gandas. It's the same name on almost all platforms.
Okay. So with that note, I hope that you all have enjoyed this particular session. We were very thankful to Vichitra Gandas sir who have given his valuable time for gaining insights into the problem solving and the system design thing. We are happy to have you here. Like,
Yeah.
it was a great
Thanks.
session.
Only thing I would say is that in case you need any help, you could probably reach out on LinkedIn. I would say that would be the best platform in case you want to reach out, connect with regard to anything. So I would put my LinkedIn link here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, I guess that's the best platform you could reach out in case you guys need any help. But I would say, try to participate in as much these kind of events as you can to build a great network. Try to make good friends in the industry. It's very small industry. In my personal opinion, I worked at Visa, which is like very huge company, like maybe lakhs of employees. But then there was a point where someone reached back to me about an interview where the person was my like ex-manager. I mean, such big industry, but you find the connections back. So like always be nice, I guess, be polite. Even if maybe you feel that other person is, not better than you, but then there is something you could probably learn from that person. So always be open to learnings. Each person could probably, give us something to learn. So yeah, be open to that, be nice to people, and connections help.
Okay. Nitin, you have one more question? Okay. Okay.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Good luck for your hackathon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.